Okay, now ready to introduce my next special guest on my show. It's lovely to have back Amber May. We had her on my show maybe about 6 months ago. We are just saying before the onset of the interview how time's just going so quickly. Anyway, she's back with a new single, and to tie in with that, so I thought it'd be good to get her back just to chat more about what she's been up to and so on. How are you today, Amber May?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Can't complain. Can't complain. Where are you situated at the moment? Are you at home?
Yeah, I'm just back home at the moment with my parents.
Great. And have you been like on the road at all, doing shows or traveling, recording?
I've been doing a little bit. About 3 weeks ago, I just got back from traveling Asia a little bit. I was in Nepal volunteering for 6 weeks at a school there teaching English, so that was amazing. And I had a lot of time to write music. And now I've come back and I'm just working on my music a bit. I've had a few little shows. I did Pub in the Park in Marlow, which was really good, and my first few little gigs, which has been really nice. Yeah.
That's ace. So I know on my previous segment of the show, we did chat about your musical, background. But did you want to just kind of like refresh our memories? Do you remember when you first sung? Picked up your first musical instrument, and performing on stage?
Of course, yeah. So when I was younger, I remember music being a part of my life for as long as I can remember. And my mum always loved music. She was my full-time parent. She didn't work for most of my life and she homeschooled me for a while. So she always surrounded my life with music. And when I was homeschooled, she took me to singing lessons and guitar lessons. And I was about 10 or 11 when I got my first guitar in Singapore when I was being homeschooled. And I think at that time, then I just couldn't be stopped. I wrote so many songs. They weren't very good, but I started writing songs, I started singing, and then I started performing a bit more um, and learning to perform on stage. And yeah, ever since then, I've kind of been doing little bits.
Good, that's great. I'm pleased for you. And on to my next question, because one of the reasons I invited you on is because you have another single out now. It's called "Love Your Right," and you just tell me and my listeners a little bit more about this record.
Well, to be honest, I don't actually remember when I wrote it. I wrote a bit of it, and then I think when I was away traveling, I have like a giant book just full of like random little lines, not completed songs. And I was going through it whilst I was away, and I found it, and suddenly I just got all the inspiration for it. And in that session, I wrote the song, and I loved it, and I sent it to my producer Stuart, and got really excited, and he loved it instantly. And then yeah.
And what's it like working with Stuart again on this record?
It's amazing. Yeah, we work really well together and we're very close, so it's very good.
Mm. And the sound you like to capture. Now, Amy Winehouse, massive inspiration in your life, and
He is.
mentioned Gabriella Chilm in the last interview, and
Yeah.
Noisettes as well, and maybe early Paloma Faith with that kind of retro sound.
Thank you so much.
Great. And I looked on Spotify, for this record as well, and I like your cover art for this. Love You Right. Where was the inspiration for shooting that? Was it in the supermarket or a convenience store? Do you remember that?
Um, I think I'd gotten back from traveling and I'd thought of the kind of the aesthetic of the video I wanted it to be, but I wasn't sure where or how to do it. And I called my friend who she's very artistic and she does design in university. And I went up and visited her and we just did a whole night of shooting random footage around London where we could think of. And then that next morning I cut it into a video.
Ah, cool. And will there be is that music video or lyric video out now where people can,
Yes, on
watch?
YouTube.
Oh, great. So we will look out for that. And would you say you're quite a creative and visual artist yourself?
Yeah, I would say so. I did art and design in college. So I love drawing, I love painting, I love doing fashion and making clothes, and I love writing music and singing. All my favorite things, to be honest, are the creative subjects.
It's nice when you can do it hand in hand as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And last time I had you on my program, we chatted about Runaway, one of your singles, Runaway with You, if I'm right. How has that reaction been since then? And is that record just keep going from strength to strength?
Yeah, it's going really well, to be honest. I just before I left, actually the day of my flight away when I was backpacking, I had a BBC Radio London interview, which was really good. Um, and then from that, I got a few more calls with opportunities and gigs and things like that, which has been really nice. So, yeah,
That's what it's all about, because one thing can lead to another, and then it
exactly.
progresses. That's the way it works.
It's
Um,
exciting.
yes, in my previous interview, you mentioned Lauren Hill as well, a good inspiration
I
of
love Lauren
yours.
Hill and Etta James, Nina Simone. I love all the like really old school soulful singers with like a raw voice.
And kind of more modern, kind of, well, not divas, but like people with like, big voices, Mary J. Blige and Alicia Keys, any of them good,
Yeah,
good
yeah, I find
songs.
them amazing. I love their voices. They're incredible, definitely. But I've always loved the slightly jazzy, bluesy music as well, which I think why I definitely take inspiration from all of the strong voices, but more of the old school because I love the musical side of
Yeah.
it.
You can't be a bit of vintage, can you?
Oh yeah, I love it so much. I love old music.
Never ages, does it? It's timeless.
No, it doesn't. And yeah, there's nothing like it anymore.
And you mentioned you've done some interviews. How does it feel to receive positive, feedback with your music finally?
Very good. Yeah, it's incredible. I took a break from music when I was about 13 till 17 for a bit because I was having some struggles with my mental health, but I've always loved it and I've always wanted to get back to it. And I was very nervous when I released my first song and I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but it's done really well. And music's the only thing I can see myself really doing. So I'm really glad it's going well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that'd be terrifying.
And just take us for an average day, like as a life as a working musician, from a possible morning or afternoon routine, traveling, through to your work, and maybe also what you like to do in your spare time as well.
Yeah, so normally I wake up and I make my plan for the day. I'm a bit of a serial list maker. So I make like daily to-do lists and weekly to-do lists and then normally I start with checking all my emails and my messages and things like that. I normally got a few emails to send, a few things to put in my diary. I've normally got appointments every day, whether it's like a something
Mm.
like this or I'm a bit of a medical child, so I have quite a few medical appointments still. And then to be honest, at the moment, it's mostly just I'm trying to get a website together. So all of these difficult things that I'm not so good at, and Bandcamp, and I'm trying to set up all my artist profile behind the scenes things, and then emailing people about gigs if they're interested, making more like stuff to post on social media. I'm not very good at social media, but apparently it's really important
Mm.
nowadays. I'm trying to learn about it.
Yes, it can be a bit of a treadmill, social media, you always got to keep on top of things, but it's good that you're organized there and you
I
schedule
try.
everything. Not many people can do that.
I try, but then yeah, I have to make sure I get time to actually do my music because then I want to like
Yes,
I play guitar, I like singing, I like writing music. So
that's
yeah,
understandable. Not enough hours in the day, is there?
no, exactly. So at the moment, to be honest, I'm just doing a lot of the setting up for my career.
Yeah, that's what it's about, building the foundations and then
It
work
is.
yourself upwards. You'll get there. And also, do you enjoy like performing live as well? London, a great city for opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to go to London more. I've done a bit around the outskirts of London, um, because there was like an events venue called the Camembert Club that does a few things around Sutton and the outside.
Mm.
And they've called me up a few times. They've asked me to do gigs. But yeah, I'm looking to get more in London because it's such a good music world there.
Sure. Where are you based now? What county are you in, if you don't mind me
Reading
asking?
and
Oh,
Berkshire.
Reading. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're not too far then.
Yeah, so I can get to London in 20 minutes, so it's very easy.
That's good then. And ultimately, where's best for people who like to follow you on like social media? Do you have a preference, Instagram or any of them platforms?
So on my Instagram, Amber May Official, it has a link in my biography, and that has all my links to it. So it has my YouTube, my TikTok, my Spotify, and then eventually when I get a website, that will all be updated on there.
Great. And one question I did want to ask you, what would you like to see more of in the music industry? Do you feel there should be more kind of like support for artists because it can be overwhelming for artists these days, to try and, juggle everything, their mental health and well-being.
Yeah, I think not just support for artists as well. I feel like music used to mean so much. Not that it doesn't anymore, but a lot of music, you'd listen to the words and it would be so beautiful. And nowadays, a lot of music doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't spread an important message. So I'd love to see more of real music, music that makes an impact on someone and, you
Yeah,
know,
because it's I know that original artists are so much great music from from the people interviewer and yourself as well that need to be heard more. Then you've got the mainstream charts where it's all kind of like pop and commercial.
similar. Yeah, it's very similar and
Yeah,
very
and
auto-tuned.
I'm finding like younger people are listening, are taking it back now to like the earlier music now because
Yeah.
it's all repetitive, like the main big top 40s. How do you feel
Yeah.
about the state of the charts?
I don't particularly I don't really listen to the charts that much, to be honest. I don't follow them too much. I listen to, yeah, a lot of music that really just like resonates with me. And I
Mm.
think the world is quite messy nowadays, and we're a messy generation. And, we're all going through a lot, and everyone has to deal with things, and there's a lot of sad things happening out there. And I feel like, yeah, music can really spread an important message.
Mm. What I like about music as well is like everyone's got their own tastes as well, and whatever style of music you like, that's your personal preference, and no one can change that.
Exactly.
Great. Well, all we need to do now is play your new single on my show, and then we'll put the link to your new single below this interview on my channel so people can just click on it and then preview it. And it's great to have you for a catch-up interview on today's show. Amber May, it's always a delight to have you on.
Thank you very much, and hopefully see you soon.
Yeah, see you soon on the next record.
Lovely day. Thank
Yeah,
you.
have a lovely day.
Bye.
Bye.